is the 30th day of May, specifically in a year that is 25 years after the year 2000. And today is the day where a legendary game that you can see on my desk right now, look at your screen. I know you're probably got this on in the background while you're doing homework, but look on the screen, look at my virtual desk, and look at what two games we're trying today. One of those games, is a topic of what we're talking about. So I got a whole bunch of Night Rain related news lined up, and we finna talk about it. And the first thing we finna talk about is how there's already a 2-player co-op mod. Because if you're not familiar with Elden Ring Night Rain, it's a whole new game. It's not DLC or nothing like that. It's a whole new, completely different game that costs about $40. And it's a co-op focused game where you can only play either by yourself or with 3 people. Now, why this is the case, I don't know. But there's somebody who day one has already made a 2-player co-op mod. That's the first thing I wanted to mention. I don't really want to go into great detail because, the title is self-explanatory. Don't give a fuck. What website is it on? This mod comes from Luke Yuri. The modder also responsible for the popular Seamless Co-op mod. So if the Seamless Co-op mod was good before, I guess this is going to be just as good. Within a few hours of Night Rain going live, he shared a short video demonstrating blah 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 blah. Do they have a link to it? Nope, so I no longer give a fuck. Next thing we will be talking about is how the solo player apparently is kind of funky. Now, when the online beta test happened, you couldn't test single player. So I have no idea how the single player is. So I'm going to be going into that blind 100% today, knowing nothing. That being said, what buffs are they talking about? Playing alone in Elden Ring Night Rain fares like an inherent debuff. Yeah, because it's a game designed for you to play with 2 of your buddies, and now you're playing by yourself because you're a lonely fuck. Or you're an adult and all your friends got different schedules. Naturally, you'd expect to have a slightly tougher time by not being able to split the enemy focus between you and your comrades. Yeah, and then there's certain enemies and bosses that are designed for groups of 3, like that boss where you get the tree sentinel, or that little fake ass 9-tailed Naruto fox go burr, that splits into 3, and it's supposed to be you and both your friend, you and your 2 other friends are all supposed to get a boss. Like, I want to know, how is stuff like that gonna work in an environment where you're playing by yourself? That is a question I do want to know, because like, one thing I would expect a studio with games as mechanically dense and in depth as From Software games is that just making it so that your character now does more damage or stuff like that, that's like a way that a lot of developers resort to making a game harder, increasing or decreasing how much damage you take and how much damage you deal to enemies. But that's not a catch-all solution that really dynamically changes the difficulty in a fair way. So I want to know, how would they do it? Started a sentence off with a fucking conjunction, but there's another big problem. As Nat highlights in our Elden Ring Night Rain review, with just one person exploring in the same time frame. Oh, there's something I forgot to write on my fucking board. Because you know how like when you gotta remember to write something down, you can never remember that shit when you're not doing anything and it's always in the middle of doing something? Yeah, that. Oh wait. I'm gonna spell shoot S-O, dumbass. Alright. Going back to this. With just one person exploring in the same time frame, you're far less likely to clear out enough points of interest to gain the levels and gear you need before you're pushed into the tougher boss fights that the Soulsborne throws you into. Nightfares, thank you for playing Elden Ring. Night Rain, the developer, writes in a post via the Elden Ring social media channels. Next week, patch 1.0.2 will be released and will include several bug fixes as well as improvements for solo expeditions. So what that means to me is that I need to go. I already paid for the game, so I don't give a fuck. I need to go download a pirated version of this game to play 1.0 so that I could play without all the buffs and crazy stuff, so nobody could say I do Mickey solo Night Rain runs. And until they have a content update where they're adding more content, not updating that shit. And will include several bug fixes as well as improvements for solo expeditions. Specifically, it mentions 2 initial inclusions with further details to come. The automatic revival upon defeat effect will be applied to solo expeditions, granting you a second. Ooh, so if you down on your knees and you single player, you just gotta sit there and wait till you die out. Once per night boss, granting you a second chance once per night boss battle. I think it should be 3 times because you have 3 bars, but I guess. Additionally, you'll gain more runes when playing alone, helping you level up faster in Night Rain before things kick off. Yeah, because you're going to need more damage, speed, whatever to do stuff. There's no word yet on whether you'll get any extra time to explore, unfortunately, but perhaps it will make the cut when a patch arrives. I would hope so, because you're just one person and you can't, like, you don't have the option to split up. I would hope that you're able to, that you're able to, like, either move faster or significantly faster, or you have more time, so that you have more time to, like, clear out stuff, read what stuff does when you do find stuff, you know, just get more time in general. And that's pretty much the end of the article. So yeah, if you want to play this game solo and you feel like right now it's a little bit funky, it's a little bit wonky, don't worry, they're fixing it shortly according to that article. And this video, I don't know what the fuck this video is about, like in terms of what the contents of it is going to be, but the little title, Elden Ring Night Rain Steam reviews are FromSoft's second lowest ever, piqued my interest, because I did watch a couple reviews about this game knowing good and goddamn well I was going to get it, because I just wanted to see what people were, and I didn't see too much positive stuff, even though I like this game a lot, but I fucking despise and fucking hate Elden Ring, so it kind of makes sense that an Elden Ring hater would love the game Elden Ring lovers hate. Now, I haven't seen any Dark Souls 2 levels of hate, but just a bunch of, I don't like it, from Soulsborne community members and shit like that.
Steam reviews are the lowest of any From Software game for nearly 16 years. While the Elden Ring Night Rain player count is already surging past the combined total of all 3 Dark Souls games on
Steam. And it also could be a vocal minority type beat.
Lagging behind. Right now, it's got a mixed verdict with only 67% positive reviews. To put that into perspective, that's the second lowest user score you can find under the From Software Inc. developer tab on Steam. Only Dark Souls 3 Ashes of Ariandel DLC has scored lower at a mixed 59%, and you really have to go digging all the way back to 2009's now delisted Ninja Blade and its 62% score to find anything lower. The main complaints are the lack of ultra-wide support, the lock to 60 FPS, poor keyboard support...
It's locked at 60? I'm not gonna lie, if you playing Elden Ring on a keyboard and mouse, I'm not gonna lie, get the fuck off the game. What are you doing?
And particularly the lack of duo support, which FromSoft itself admits...
That is a legitimate downside. I don't know why the fuck you would release a multiplayer game where you specifically have to play in 3 or play by yourself. I don't get it.
This was a missed mark, and it might well add later. Regardless, players are still pouring into the game, with the Elden Ring Night Rain player count hitting 300,000 in just 1 hour on Steam alone. Early Elden Ring Night Rain Steam review...
Okay, it's nothing crazy. I just wanted to mostly see what that video was about before I skim... Oh wait, no. Another video. I saw that.
In spending. With the amount big video games cost to make, you could fund a...
Because I had some thoughts and some things I wanted to say about this. Let me get the music ready while it's playing. Because I didn't watch this, but I already know what it's about.
You could fund a small army. But one game has bucked the trend. Clair Obscur, the ostensibly French RPG that sold over 3 million copies despite a relatively petite budget.
They made their budget back, I'm pretty sure. Because that's like one of the main things I want to say. When it... Hey, stop sitting behind my chair. Bed. Thank you. Down. Thank you, sir. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Wait, I had to rewind it back a little bit.
Despite a relatively petite...
Oh. So yeah, one reason why a lot of these games sell 5 to 6 million copies and then get called a fucking failure is because if you spend 10 billion quintillion dollars making a game, it costs more money to recoup what you made. Number one. Number two, if you're constantly making game after game after game and making sequel after sequel and remake after remake, eventually people are not gonna be hyped for your game on release on day one. Like, there's gonna be some people hyped for the release of any game on day one, but it's not gonna be a profitable amount of people, because remember, at the end of the day, your set of numbers, they're business. So a profitable amount of people aren't gonna be hyped and excited about the game day one. But if some of these studios lower their budgets, they'll be able to make back and recoup way more of their money. And also, stop forcing developers to make games they don't want to make. If they want to make Final Fantasy 89, then that's cool. But if you got developers that don't want to make Final Fantasy 89 and they're telling you, hey bruh, don't nobody give a fuck about Final Fantasy. Let's give the series a rest for some years. Let's let people miss it. 5-10 years, let niggas miss it, and let's work on a different game. Maybe even a new IP with some new mechanics and some new ideas. Because you see what happened with Ubisoft. Ubisoft kept chucking these developers to the side and say, no, make bleh, icons all over the map. Assassin's Creed over and over again. They left Ubisoft and made what is, from what I'm hearing, very, very strong contender for Game of the Year, if not the only option. So Ubisoft, if they would have let these developers make what the fuck they wanted to make, could have had a Game of the Year contender on their hand. And Ubisoft is strapped for cash or hurting. So you know they looking at them mad as hell like a bitter ex.
Budget. Apparently, that's the point. You've seen the number of releases from AAA publishers dwindle and dwindle.
Yeah, because they're not profitable.
Says the game's publisher.
Especially with these ballooning prices and then how much more expensive it is to hire developers and keep paying them because of like remote work.
Now there's an opportunity for teams like Sandfall to come in and give players something that they really have not been given for quite a long time.
Good games.
What it cost,
not sequels.
That
good games.
Mirror's Edge and Vanquish cost more. Put it that way. Is this the dawn of an era of
I don't know how
smaller,
much
cheaper
those games cost.
I wouldn't mind that.
At all. At all. Because one thing I always say is, like, the gaming community, there will be a few fucking nerds in the corner that will scream, we need 80-hour, 100-hour games. I say to you, to those people, fucking ignore them. Please, game studios, ignore the motherfuckers sitting in the corner screaming, we need 80-hour games. Because the majority of people who play video games, who actually buy video games, play them, support them, make content that advertises your game for free, are adults. Whether it's going outside because we have to go to work, touching grass because we got to deal with kids, whether you got to deal with your dog, you got a significant other. There's 100 reasons why majority of gamers, not the ones that sit in their house that are part of the vocal minority, the ones that actually go the fuck outside, there's a reason why we're more inclined to play a 20, 30 hour concise, maybe even 10 hour concise experience over this 100 hour sequel garbage. We don't want to play them shit. Stop making them. Please. Give it a rest. Not every game needs to be 100 hours. Like, a lot, like, it's like what I said about these studios making live service games. Not all of you are equipped to maintain a live service game. Well, essentially, it's a bunch of chefs being asked to fix cars. Like, somebody was a chef their whole life for, let's say, 40 years, and now people are asking them to be a mechanic. This person's not a fucking mechanic. Why are you asking them to go work on cars all of a sudden? Now, that's not what they do. You need them to cook up a good meal? They got you. You want to learn a thing or two about food safety? They got you. You want to know what temperature you should keep your chicken at so that it can last the optimal amount of time and still be fresh and good and all that? You ask a chef. You don't ask a chef, how do I change my catalytic converter? Them niggas gonna shrug their shoulders and say, I don't know, gang, go to a mechanic. But yeah, and the last thing I wanted to do, I'm not gonna read this in entirety because it is a Game Informer article, and look how fucking long it is, alright? That's long as shit. But I do want to skim over this a little bit and see if there's anything majorly interesting to see. I want to read like the headlines and then read the summary. Often people ask me, how would you describe the game? What kind of game is it? News is Rogue Factor creative and art director Jonathan Chahuiz Beltre. Chahuiz. It's just a good old adventure game like back in the days, you know? It's like when you booted up Zelda Link to the Past, you didn't question it. I don't know about that one. We'll read the second paragraph, then go over the headlines. After playing a few hours of Hell Is Us, in which I explored contemporary-looking European... Oh, God, we're going to be walking around Black Plague City and seeing what the fuck is up with all these dirty rats. I'm going to be looking like New York Part 1 out this bitch. European villagers and countrysides laden with seemingly alien ancient temples and inhuman monstrosities. I think players will raise quite a few questions, and those mysteries are what make this upcoming action-adventure game so alluring. So it sounds like in this action-adventure game, they actually let you adventure. And now that sounds stupid that I'm highlighting that, but you'll be surprised the amount of action-adventure games that came out recently that don't want you to be an adventurer. They want you to walk down a straight path. Like for action adventure games, there should be a beaten path, but there should be also other branching paths with secrets, collectibles, and extra story stuff. My demo begins in the forest. Okay, that's him describing the demo. Don't care until I get to play it. Combat isn't what it looks like. Chahuiz describes Hell Is Us as roughly an even split between exploration, which includes puzzle solving, and combat. The third-person melee combat feels deliberate, with players using weapons such as sword, that motherfucking pole, or my favorite, dual axe. Ask. A-S-K, like a question. Dual asks. Every swing forces you to commit to attack animations, meaning timing is key. So it sounds more like the game is a bit heavy and Soulsborne-like in the way of like in a Soulsborne game, if you press your sword input twice and then before the second sword input comes out, you press roll, the game is gonna go sword input, then roll. So it sounds like it has a pretty heavy buffer system that punishes you for just swinging. Hell Is Us is a promising confluence of ideas. I enjoy the blend of Zelda-like dungeons, ER sense of discovery, and detective-style investigations and problem solving. I'm okay with Elden Ring levels of discoverability because there's a fuck ton of secrets at Elden Ring and a lot of content. But as long as we have like a little waypoint or line on the ground that says walk this way to go to the main story, so I can tell what's the exploration and what's the linear parts, I'm cool. I felt little friction figuring out where to go and what to do. I chalked that up to playing an earlier section of the roughly 20-hour main story path, though the players can expect to spend 40 hours overall. I guess, bro. Let's read the last couple paragraphs. After spending the last 5 years bringing Hell Is Us to life, Chahuiz feels like he's created the adventure of his dreams and is confident the team has at least a good game on its hands. Whether it's a great game is up to players. But, starting a sentence off of the conjunction, perhaps more than anything else, Chahuiz hopes Rogue Factor creates a consistently memorable and engaging experience. It seems like it might be the type of game, and these are the ones that I really cherish. That once you're done with a session, not done with the game itself, just the session's finished, you turn off your console or your PC, it stays in your mind. I mean, that sounds like a good thing, but we've heard stuff like this before. Y'all remember the last time somebody told us we had a quadruple A generation changing game on our hands? It seems that maybe it's a game that seems to have that aspect, that when people stop playing, it lingers with them a little bit, and if it really does that to me, it's amazing. And this shit comes out in September. So, I mean, I'm going to read that article more in depth later, but I mean, if what they're saying and what they're promising is actually the deal, is actually what's going on, it sounds like we got a Game of the Year contender banger on our hand. And them releasing it at a later part of the year could be either stupidity or confidence that their game is going to stand out. Ah, shit, I didn't click the article. Either stupidity or confidence that their game is going to be able to stand out enough to compete with other stuff that's coming out around that time, like the Call of Duties and Maddens and stuff like that. That being said, if you are new to this stream, hi. But first off, if you're watching the YouTube version, go over to my Twitch, follow me. I try to stream every weekday. 2, if you're watching the Twitch stream and you're new here, simply reload your tab when the stream ends. I'm not ending the stream, I'm just ending the VOD.